It's not surprising. In 2016, before the election, Donald Trump was still just the Republican candidate, and he made several unsubstantiated claims of voter fraud, claiming nearly 2 million dead people were still registered to vote, to saying there was a massive problem with non-U.S. citizens voting. After he was elected president, Trump claimed millions of people voted illegally. Although Trump won enough states to win what's called the Electoral College, which is the vote of the states, he did not win the nationwide vote. Hillary Clinton captured about 3 million more votes than Trump, prompting his claim that there was 3 to 5 million illegal votes cast. And then once he took office, President Trump put together a commission to investigate voter fraud. That commission was disbanded 6 months after it was formed. They met twice, and there was no credible evidence of widespread fraud. And then during the 2020 campaign, as president, trying to get his second term, President Trump repeatedly said the only way he could lose the election is if there was massive voter fraud. He continually questioned the integrity of efforts to vote by mail during the pandemic, although he voted by mail in his elections. So the lawsuits that have been put out there by the campaign have been routinely dismissed by the courts, and it's what he is doing is fulfilling the prophecy he laid out all year long that if he lost, it would be only by fraud.
Where does this rejection of the election outcome place America's democracy internationally?
What it's really doing is pulling at the loose threads of the fabric of American democracy. And it's testing the strength of American political institutions. Let's take the U.S. Constitution, it's 27 amendments, and if that is the bedrock foundation of American democracy, then it falls to the will of the people and its elected leaders to uphold the Constitution. And that creates the shape and the fabric of both American democracy and American society. For the impact on the rest of the world, as awkward as it might appear to everybody else, the 2020 election and its aftermath is evidence that the American democracy is working. The judges and the courts, they base their decisions on fact-based evidence. And so far, that's what's happened. They've rejected the claims of election fraud when no evidence has been presented. One of the more important post-election moments that happened on November 11th, days after the election, when the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, he delivered a Veterans Day address. And he reminded his troops and the public that the military, the U.S. military, does not swear an oath to an individual, a king or a queen. He said that the oath is sworn to a set of values and fundamental ideas that are found in the U.S. Constitution. And it is the Constitution that troops and elected officers, from the president on down, they swear an oath to the Constitution, not an individual. And so that I think was one of the more important moments of the post-election interregnum.
How has this impacted President-elect Joe Biden's preparations as the next commander-in-chief?
The transition was delayed for about 3 weeks, and there still appears to be some issues with Biden's transition team gaining access to the various different agencies. There's a little bit of an issue at the Pentagon, gaining access to information that will be needed once President Biden is inaugurated. As for Biden himself, he was vice president for 8 years. And he was up on Capitol Hill for 30 plus before that. So he's well versed in how the government operates. He was in on all of President Obama's important meetings and decisions. So he knows how the various different agencies and different arms, especially of the executive part of the government, works. And he's getting those he's designated to various agencies up to speed. That may be delayed, but what he's doing is choosing his advisors carefully. Many of them have experience in the agencies and the areas that they're going into. So there's not that much of a onboarding issue for them. But it is still going to be a little bit of a struggle for the Biden administration to fully move forward on day one.